Let's jump right into this explainer, where we're going to break down an experience literally every single one of us shares, that overwhelming, heavy weight of anxiety and dread. We're pulling directly from a really fascinating piece titled The Illusion of Depth, which basically forces us to confront the actual magnitude of our fears. I mean, we've all been there, right? Staring down a situation or a big decision, and it feels so massive it completely takes your breath away. But what if the sheer size of that fear is just a trick of the mind? Today, we're going to unpack exactly how fear operates, why it feels so enormous, and how understanding its true dimensions can instantly give you your power back. Okay, so let's look at this brilliant core metaphor that perfectly captures the disconnect between how massive fear feels and what it actually is. Fear is a mile high and an inch deep. Just let that sink in for a second. It's such a striking concept, and it immediately sets the stage for everything we're about to explore. This one phrase beautifully illustrates the gap between the perceived magnitude of our anxieties and the actual substance of the threat itself. Section 1. The metaphor of fear. Think about seeing a terrifying shadow growing larger on the wall in a dark room. Your heart races, your palms are sweating, and the threat seems to be towering over you. But then you turn around and you see it's literally just a tiny, harmless object blocking the light. The fear was real, sure, but the threat? That was an illusion created by the angle of the light. As humans, we're kind of hardwired to feel the magnitude, the imposing presence of all those what-ifs. But the actual substance, the hard facts of the danger we're facing, are often incredibly shallow. We're effectively confusing the intensity of our emotional reaction with the reality of the situation in front of us. Section 2. A mile high. Now, I really want to start by validating that heavy, intense emotion, because let's be real. When fear grips you, it feels completely insurmountable. It has this immense, towering nature to it. It's totally all-consuming. It doesn't just sit quietly in the back of your mind. No, it hijacks your entire mental dashboard. It acts like this massive wall that you couldn't possibly climb over or dig under. And even if the threat lacks physical substance, we absolutely cannot deny that the feeling itself is overwhelmingly real. And this beautifully captures why we so often feel paralyzed. The emotional experience of facing a mile-high threat is incredibly real to us in that exact moment. This sense of panic and helplessness, it's a direct result of buying into that illusion of depth. When you genuinely believe the wall is a mile high, your brain's amygdala literally hijacks your logic, trapping you in this state of inaction. It triggers a stress response that just screams, there is no way out. But let's pause for a second here. Let's contrast that overwhelming panic against actual reality. There is a very sharp line between our intense emotional experience and objective facts. They just aren't the same thing. The emotional experience screams that danger is everywhere, while reality, well, if we can quiet down enough to actually look at it, tells a much, much more manageable story. Section 3. An inch deep. So this is where we flip the script. If the mile-high shadow is the illusion, the inch-deep substance is the reality. The absolutely crucial point here is that upon closer examination, the actual danger is usually tiny. Fear is truly just a mental construct. It's built on exaggerated anxieties and distorted perceptions rather than objective reality. What this implies is that when we finally step up to that mile-high wall and actually touch it, we realize it's basically made of paper. Think about the last time you felt totally paralyzed by anxiety. We so often, unconsciously, allow our own minds to magnify these issues, making them seem disproportionately threatening. We project our insecurities, our past traumas, and our absolute worst-case scenarios onto a situation. Suddenly, a slightly delayed email from your boss means you're getting fired and moving into the woods, right? We are the ones feeding the illusion. We blow it entirely out of proportion, giving it the power to grow from an inch deep to a mile high. Section 4. Overcoming your fear. Now, understanding the concept is only half the battle, right? So how do we practically conquer it? Well, the source material gives us this really concrete 5-step roadmap to overcome the illusion. First, don't freeze. Remind yourself the fear is exaggerated. Second, challenge it. Third, take small steps. Fourth, seek support. And fifth, practice mindfulness. These are active, deliberate choices you can make the second that mile-high feeling starts to creep in. Let's break those down into some real action. By actively questioning the validity of your fear and hunting for evidence that contradicts it, you start poking holes in the illusion. By taking tiny actions, you break down that massive fear into smaller, manageable steps. By leaning on a friend and talking to someone you trust, you get a much-needed outside perspective on objective reality. And finally, by practicing mindfulness and anchoring yourself in the present moment, you successfully separate the fear from reality. This effectively strips the fear of its power. Because when you finally turn around and look closely at the object casting that massive shadow, you realize it's fundamentally powerless. By confronting our fears directly and examining them up close, we almost always find that they lack the substance we thought they had. The power of the fear vanishes the moment you apply logic, action, and presence to it. It's like turning on the lights. The illusion is completely broken. So I'm leaving you with this thought as we wrap up this explainer. What mile-high fear will you examine closely today to reveal it's really only an inch deep? Think about the one thing dominating your thoughts right now. Apply the framework, question its validity, break it into small steps. I guarantee if you look closely enough, you'll see the bottom.